Being reactive when it comes to your money can be very expensive. In this video, I'm going to be talking about effective ways you can start budgeting in as little as 4 weeks. This will help you to proactively manage your money and start growing your wealth. Hi, my name is Samantha. I'm a director at Deep Pockets Finance Chartered Accountants. At Deep Pockets Finance, we believe that anyone can have deep pockets as long as you effectively manage your finances. On this channel, I provide tips on how to manage your personal finances, how to manage your business, and how to grow your wealth. Budgeting allows you to proactively decide what you want your money to do for you. If this process is not done correctly, instead of motivating you, it will become overwhelming, and an unrealistic budget is hard to stick to. I've broken down the tasks into smaller steps that you can easily follow. You can do this in 4 weeks' time or in a shorter space of time. Now, getting into the steps. Step number 1, set your goals. When you want to put your finances in order or when you want to start building your wealth, it's important to understand where you're going. Setting your goals allows you to see the direction with which you need to take. When you're setting your goals, it's important to understand your values. Now, what are values? Values are principles or beliefs that motivate us to do what we do. Incorporating your values into your goals will motivate you to continue to work. For example, I value spending time with my family, creating new experiences and creating memories with my family. One of the goals that I have is to be able to create multiple sources of income that will allow me to travel the world and create experiences with my family. Now, this is a long-term goal that I have, but it allows me to then set shorter-term goals that are then linked to my budget. So it's important to understand what you value. It's important to understand how that value can be incorporated in the goals that you have, because when times are down, those values will help to motivate you to continue going. When you have long-term goals that are set, as I mentioned before, you can then set shorter term goals. When you have short term goals, you can set targets that you can implement within your budget. So for example, if there's a long-term goal that you want to achieve, what is it that you need to do now in order to reach that ultimate goal? So things like paying off debt, saving a certain amount of time, these can be smaller steps that you take towards reaching the ultimate target. Now that you have your goals in place, it's important to know what you're working with. This brings us to step number 2, know what you're working with. Knowing what you're working with basically allows you to assess your current financial situation. So you need to understand how much money you've got coming in, and you need to understand how much you have outgoing. So for example, if you're repaying any debts, how much is it that you're paying? If you've got expenses that you need to pay for, you need to understand how much you're paying for every month and how much you're saving. The most important number from this exercise is your net balance. Now, your net balance is the difference between how much is coming in and how much is going out. This then tells you if you're living within your means or if you need to look at reducing your expenses or look at getting more money coming in. Basically, if the net balance is negative, that means you've got more expenses going out than you have money coming in. If it's positive, that means you've got extra money left over to actually save. Now, when you're completing this step, if you have no idea where to start or how to get the numbers, best way to start is to look at your bank statement. If you normally spend using your card, you can look at how much money is coming. You can look at how much money you've saved. If you haven't got a bank statement to hand, you can start by writing down how much money you think you've spent on certain items. If you've got receipts, standing orders, etc., or if you've got money that you normally pay out, just look at how much you spend, because the most important thing is just to understand where you are and how much you've spent in the previous month. This brings us to step number 3. Find a system that works for you. When I'm talking about a system, I mean, are you going to be writing the budget down in a book? Are you going to be using the budget trackers? Are you going to be using Excel spreadsheet, or are you going to be using an application? What you need to consider when you're looking for a system to use is that, can you easily identify which month you're budgeting for? Can you easily identify the difference between the budgeted amount, this is the money that you've planned to spend, or the money that you've planned to come in, and can you see the difference between what you're actually spending and what you actually have coming in? You also need to be able to have full visibility of the net balance. The most important thing to consider is how comfortable you are with this system. Can you consistently use it on a month-to-month basis? When you decide on the system that you use, you also need to consider if you can effectively track your expenses. Now, when you're tracking your expenses, you can use to implement a system whereby you're spending everything from one bank account. When you spend everything from one bank account, you can then take those transactions and add them onto whichever system that you're using, so that you can see if you've overspent or underspent, or you spent on budget. Then this allows you to proactively manage how much money you're spending. So at this point, you know what you're working towards, you know what motivates you, you know what you're working with, and you know which system you're going to be using in order to manage your budget. It brings us to the last point, which is point number 4. Step number 4 is a very important step, because you've done all this work already. Now you need to give yourself an opportunity for your budget to actually succeed. And by doing this, you start by setting reminders. You can use your calendar, put a reminder in that every month, maybe on the 25th or the 26th, you actually sit down, you have a look at what you spent in that month, and you have a look at what you're looking to spend in the next month. If you see that you're spending more than you can afford, you can proactively cut down on expenses, proactively approach providers and see if you can reduce the money that you're paying, etc. And see if you can reduce the money that you're paying, so that you can reduce your outgoings. This is an important step because it allows you to consistently, proactively manage your budget. Look at ways you can automate certain payments. For example, if you're looking to save a certain amount every month towards your goal, you can look to set a standing order, so that instead of having to remember to transfer that money every month, it comes out automatically. And this point will keep you going even when sometimes you feel demotivated. Find a way that you can remind yourself of your long-term goal. You can either do this by having a vision board, or having quotes that keep on reminding you of where it is you want to go. You can build a picture of what success looks like for you, because the more you keep reminding yourself, the more you're going to be the more you keep reminding yourself of where you ultimately want to get to, the more you'll be motivated to take the smaller steps. So the main points that we covered in this video are: you need to set your goals so that you remain motivated. You need to know what you're working with. You need to know which system you're going to be using. And you need to set reminders so that you can review and plan your budget on a monthly basis. I hope the information that I've provided today will help you achieve financial success in the future. If you like it, click the thumbs up button and share the video with your friends. If you would like a free step-by-step guide and template on how to start budgeting, you can click on the link in the description bar. I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.